Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome back to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Monday. It is Monday Thoughts because I don't have anything else right now. I do have bonus days for the Body Mindfulness series, but I wanted to take some time today to address why I was out. So, normally people would be like, who cares? You took time. That's great. Blah, blah, blah. But, it really was about the mental health thing, but there was so much more to it than that. Because, I was fine. I was fine. I needed a break that didn't involve me trying to work really hard on my mental health. I needed a break, that everything just felt quiet in my head. I mean, the chatter in my head started singing, so I don't know what that was all about, but no matter what, I needed some breathing time because all the other times I had taken off was because I'd spiraled or hit bottom or tried really hard to really kind of just put something out there because I really do like to kind of show what mental health looks like sometimes when it's not at its freshest. But there are times when you just gotta not do it because you got nothing in the tank. So one of the things I noticed was I remember when we were doing these cards during the actual 30 days of body mindfulness series, and I kept forgetting to use them, and I kept thinking, why? But for me, and this doesn't mean it's everybody else, everything happens when it's meant to happen. And today I was thinking, well, what else am I going to talk about? I tried to come up with notes and thought, no, sometimes I do better just coming up with things off the top of my head and speaking from the heart, because that's when I really feel like I speak from the heart without having notes when it comes to things like this. Everything I do on this show really does try to come from the heart and from past experiences to help people relate to things. So I read this card today and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Not really a theme today. It's just kind of talking about, how sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves, right? I mean, especially for someone my age, there's always this pressure put on you. And when you haven't reached these goals, or when, you're a certain age and people think, well, you have all this wasted talent and blah, blah, blah. And I get that a lot. And for the first time, it was actually said to me, sorry, I'm a little fidgety because I'm nervous. And I didn't take offense. I just thought, you know what? I do. So why am I wasting my writing talents? And I really started trying to hunker down. And then I found myself just kind of spinning because I have ideas and I have stories that I haven't finished. And, in fact, one of the stories I've been working on for over 10 years with an idea that's about 20 something years old. And I've been watching a TV show and it some things parallel it and other things don't. And I'm just like, well, in my story, and it's like, well, then why don't you just put your story out there? Okay. But, we tend to shame ourselves. We tend to judge ourselves because we're listening to the outside voices. We're listening to other people who feel like they have a lot to say about our lives. And yeah, I mean, sometimes we like that input. Sometimes we need to hear it, even if it's a hard truth. But sometimes it's hard too, depending on where we're at. Life can throw us a lot of curveballs. Some people deal with them by hitting them out of the park. Some people strike out with the curveballs. And it depends on the person. So, someone my age may be thriving and, planning for retirement and all that. And I'm sitting here like a leaf in the wind going, what the hell? Because there were so many obstacles that I kind of had to leap over. And sadly, after a while, I think a lot of them, sorry, excuse my hair. After a while, I think a lot of them were just out of fear. And not just fear, but out of judgment. Because I wasn't where I wanted to be. And you like I said, you put that pressure on yourself and more pressure, and then you just feel kind of incapacitated and you feel like you're just not contributing. But I admit I'm still trying to figure out what my purpose is. And maybe you'll never figure it out. Maybe it's just you got to be like, just kind of floating in the wind. And maybe the purpose is to help people figure out their stuff, to help people through their stuff, because I do enjoy that. we were watching a show yesterday where like a crime show, and the person was well, it's kind of gross, so I don't want to say anything, but I mean, it was a scripted crime show, not a true crime show, but yeah, they were just kind of removing the person's ability to talk. And I thought, God, what would I do if someone did that to me? I mean, I get I have a fear of laryngitis just because I do this show. And it's like, oh, you know, like when you feel the scratch, it's like, okay, come on, boys, come on. And so yeah, because I think we do have a lot to say. And I think that if you're willing to say it, say it. If you're not, that's okay. There's no shame in that. Not everybody is equipped or built to share their stories. You know, sometimes they just privately help people. But I have a gift of talking. I have a gift of writing, which shows when I'm doing these shows. I mean, even my dad said, your show's not scripted. It's like, no. You know, sometimes I write down notes because I need notes, or sometimes I'll copy the card that I'm using into there, but everything after that's me. And I would say it's a humble brag, because, you know, growing up, I was always asked, do you ever stop talking? and now it's just like, well, you know, it's a gift. It's a gift. So after going through all that stuff, like I said, I found this last card from the Body Mindfulness series, the 30 days. We're going to get back to the bonus days, because the bonus days, I think, are really important. Yay! Hi, baby sibling. Oh, good morning, older sibling. Baby sibling said, yeah, you're back. I posted very cryptically that I would be back. I think I put it in one place that I would be back today. And I did it a couple days ago, and it, you know, disappears after 24 hours. So anyways, let's talk about this card. I think I rambled on enough about my my recent journey. But like I said, please don't worry, because it wasn't for I'm going to say it was for mental health reasons, but it wasn't for mental health reasons. It's the first time I took time off without needing to take time off. You know, like I said, the voices were quiet. I was in a really good place. I was house sitting for my dad for about a week, and I just had a lot of, you know, space and time to think and just kind of be, you know, just not feeling, I mean, I don't feel pressure at home, but what I mean is that, you know, I was just sitting there, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch this. And I was just in a really good place, and I'm still in that good place, because I figured, you know what, I need to take this time. I need to take this time for me, and I needed that so bad. So here's the card. From whom can I release my judgment right now? From whom can I release my judgment right now? Judgment closes our heart to truth and separates us from love. It binds us to our fear and holds us in shame. On whom are you placing judgment right now? Is it someone in your life? Is it yourself? Release the shackles, drop the expectations, and be grateful for what is. Look at the person you are judging as if you were looking at a small child. See them learning and growing, falling down and making mistakes. See their desire to be loved and accepted. Add even more grace to open your heart to this truth. When I lift the judgment from myself and others, I uncover my own truth. I am loved, I am whole, I am limitless, and so are they. And I thought this was the perfect timing for this card, because I realized when I was reading this morning, or last night actually, I'm sorry. When I was reading this last night, remembering that I had this card that's still, you know, flailing in the wind from the deck, I realized I've been judging myself. I've been listening to the outside chatter. I've been listening to what everybody else thinks they know is best for me. I've been thinking about all these different things, and I thought, you know, I need to be in charge of me. I need to be the one who makes the decisions, you know, and I think it's always been kind of hard for me, you know, and I don't know why, right? Because I'm an adult. I mean, I'm kind of freewheeling with the thoughts here. So some of the thoughts you're hearing, I'm hearing for the first time. They're coming out and going, oh, you need to work on this. But I think releasing ourselves from judgment is huge. When we're able to release ourselves from judgment, we might actually be capable of releasing other people from our judgment. A lot of times when we're judging other people, it's our own insecurities being projected onto others. So even if it says here, on whom are you placing your judgment right now? Is it someone in your life? Is it yourself? What if What if we're judging these people because we need something fixed inside of us, because we need to heal something, we need to work on that journey? What if we judge, well, let's talk about the body mindfulness, right? I was talking to somebody yesterday, and their doctor wants them to lose weight, and all of a sudden they're comparing the sugar content in ketchup and donuts. I mean, for all intents and purposes, most of us don't use ketchup or eat donuts every single day. But it was just something where we go from zero, we go from one end to the complete opposite end instead of finding somewhere in the middle. So we're judging. Now, this is a person who was judging themselves. And I've been there, which is why I did the body mindfulness. And, I am struggling with the weight loss. And believe it or not, it's more because my body is resisting somehow. And, my doctor and I are working on that. But it's not for lack of effort. Well, maybe a little bit of lack of effort. But, but I've been going through a lot. So that's my excuse. But here's the thing. I think part of it, too, is that I still, even with all the body mindfulness and even with finding that self-love, and I mean real self-love, I struggle with the self-worth. In fact, my therapist appointment, which was the last Friday of last month, I see her again Friday, and she was like, I think that's one of the reasons why I ended up taking those 2 weeks off, is she keeps telling me, she's all, next time we're going to work on why you don't feel worthy. And she called me out big time because I wouldn't say it. She kept saying to me, why don't you say the one thing that, you're struggling to say? And I'm like, what? I couldn't even think of it. And she's all, do you feel worthy? I'm like, oh. And so even as she was saying goodbye, she walked me out, she was saying goodbye, and she says, you know what? So remember, I am enough, I am worth it. I am enough, I am worth it. Work on that. I am enough, I am worth it. How many times have I said that to all of you? I am enough. For you to repeat that, for you to look in the mirror, look in your eyes and say, hey, I am enough. And we don't work on the worthiness part. And maybe for some people, saying you are enough is the worthiness part, but I struggle with that. I struggle believing that I'm worthy of good things, that I'm worthy of all these things, and I don't know why. I don't know why. And so sometimes I cast this judgment on myself, like, well, and that's the judgment, is not feeling worthy, not feeling like I deserve, wonderful things in this world, to have that wonderful relationship, to have that, excuse me, see, there's that frog, to just live that best life, right? But I don't judge other people who do. Okay, sometimes it hurts inside when you see people really happy and you're kind of like, man, I wish I had something like that. Or, you're watching TV, it's like, man, I really miss kissing. I miss kissing and just snuggles, I know, that's my deep, dark secret. That's one of my favorite things that I miss. And it's been eons. So, but I think sometimes too, I look in the mirror and think, well, you're never going to find anybody until you're a certain size, or you're never going to, and that's judgment. So how do we drop the judgment of ourselves? We can say, yeah, just stop. It's taken me a while, and it's still something I'm working through. Believe it or not, for all the work I've done, this has kind of been my kryptonite, is worth. And because of that, maybe that's the struggle with my weight. It's like, yeah, but if I'm thin, am I still going to feel worthy? So it's kind of, I'm going to use this word, and I'm not sure if I'm using it right, but it's like a paradox, right? It's like the Shelley Marie paradox. So older sibling can let me know if I'm using it right. Some words, you know them, but when you're afraid to use them because you just feel like you're going to use them wrong. But yeah, it's kind of like a paradox, and I think that my body is stuck in that paradox. It's stuck in that flux. Just kind of saying, well, okay, like, well, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Because it's just like, I'm fighting with myself. And so there needs to come to a point, or I need to come to a point where I realize it's okay. You're X amount, I'm 50 years old, just, and, allow yourself to feel worthy of something. People tell me all the time, people used to tell me when I was younger, oh, whoever gets you, they're going to, whoever finds you is going to be the luckiest man on earth, and blah, blah, blah. And then it doesn't happen. And then you start feeling, oh man, what's wrong with me? And then your worthiness kind of goes downhill even more, because, you know, it's already crappy, right? But now it's even worse because you're like, oh man, what's wrong with me? So let's break this down really quick. From who can I release my judgment right now? Well, like I said, for me, it's me. I spend too much time judging myself. But also, like I said, let's step out of the box again. And, you know, back into the one that I just proposed, the little idea I proposed for you. What if we judge ourselves so harshly that our judgment gets cast onto other people because of our own insecurities? I always feel like when somebody's being rude to me or being mean to me, it's their own insecurities or their own bad day or their own something. And that's not always the case. Some people are just assholes. But hey, you know, not everybody is, okay? Not everyone. You know, some people, it's like, oh, the sky is blue. No, it's pink. Fine. You know, it's like, fine. Walk away. Walk away, because that's a person who just, for some reason, is angry about something and just needs to argue with somebody about something to let off steam, and they have to figure out how to let off steam on their own. So, judgment closes our heart to truth and separates us from love. It binds us to our fear and holds us in shame. It binds us to our fear and holds us in shame. Judgment really does. It does bind us in fear. Because like I said, a lot of times when we're projecting something onto ourselves, whether we're judging ourselves or someone else, it is probably out of an insecurity, and insecurities are fear, right? It's, you know, it's the what if that we're afraid to explore. It's the, hey, try this, but not being able to try it, you know? So on whom are we placing judgment right now? Who are we placing? Think about maybe the last person you judged, right? Now, if you're on the road driving, I will give you a free pass on your judgment there, because some people are just, sometimes I think people get in their cars and it's all about them. You know, it's like, I'm the only one on the road. They don't care about anybody else. So we're not talking about that, but we're talking about, say you're sitting at a mall and maybe somebody comes by and maybe they're too skinny or maybe they're too plus size for you, and all of a sudden it's like, you know. Well, we'll break it down. And this isn't always the case, but for the plus size person, maybe it's an insecurity because, you know, maybe they like the outfit that person's wearing. Maybe they want to, you know, be a bit smaller but are struggling. Maybe for the person who's making fun of a plus size person, they may have a fear of being overweight, or maybe they struggled with their weight growing up and now they've kind of hit the right spot and just panic. You know, I can't tell you how many people I knew that grew up, you know, a little on the plus side, and then they, you know, they got thinner, but they worried about their weight their whole life. And it was kind of like, and it would be projected on me, well, you need to lose weight. You know, I want you to be healthy. You need to be healthy. And it's like, I know, but it's the pressure. I don't do, you know what? I do well under pressure, but there's some pressure I just don't do well under. And, I can't just snap my fingers and make it happen. If I could, wow, wouldn't that be a gift for all of us if we could have that one moment, that one thing in life where we could just snap our fingers and go, oh, you know, like a genie almost, a genie finger snap. But it kind of weighs, you know, and some people say, yeah, you know what, you're right, I got to do this. But other people like me, it's kind of like, ooh, for some reason I used to feel like I would get backed into a corner. And I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't pinpoint a reason why. It's just, you know, I've always been a little more sensitive growing up, so sometimes I think I just take things a little too personally, but I've gotten better at that. I've gotten a lot better at that. And, but it's not a bad thing either. Being sensitive is not a bad thing. It's a strength. It really is a strength because you can feel what other people feel, but it also leaves you vulnerable. So anyways, it binds us to our fear and holds us in shame. Shame is a horrible thing, right? Judgment is basically shame, you know. You might be judging someone else, but are you, you know, remember when you're pointing, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. So what are you shaming yourself about? What are you, you know, judging yourself about? So on whom are we placing our judgment right now? Who are we placing our judgment on right now? You know, like I said, judgment is an insecurity. When we judge other people, it's an insecurity. I mean, I'm not talking about like, oh, you see like somebody on, you know, like a political figure now, like, and you judge them. Okay, politics, religion, all that stuff, that's a whole different subject. Driving on the road, that's a whole different subject. But when, like I said, when you're just sitting there, people watching, and you see somebody and, you know, they've done absolutely nothing to you, and you're just like, ugh, look at that person. What? What did they do? They walked in the door. You know, they I don't know, they walked in the door and all of a sudden you're just kind of like, So what are we feeling inside that's causing us to do this? What are we feeling inside that is, prompting us to pass judgment on somebody else? So let's see. So on whom are we placing judgment right now? Is it someone in your life? Is it yourself? So we just covered those. Release the shackles, drop the expectations, and be grateful for what is. So instead of feeling like you need to judge that person, the minute you feel like you need to judge that person, ask yourself, what am I feeling inside that's making me so angry that I want to take it out on someone else? I think a lot of times we're afraid to dive in deep and to really kind of, look at those three fingers pointing back at us, right? Those three fingers pointing back. I think sometimes we're afraid to look at those because we're afraid to go deep. We're afraid to go in and see what's hurting us, what's harming us, what's making us feel depressed or blue. I have what I call the common people blues, and that's just people who don't suffer from depression but have the blues. Yes, people have the blues. It doesn't matter if you have a mental health issue, or not. People get the blues. People get sad. Not everybody has depression. Depression is when you should be moving out of the certain type of sadness. You should be moving into the next phase, like grief, right? But you can't. You hang on to it and you realize, oh, I'm done dealing with this, but I still have this feeling. So, depression is an invisible illness and it doesn't get, enough credit, especially for the work we have to put in to maintain our mental health. But it's starting to, and I'm glad because people, I know some people that'll sit there and go, well, maybe I do have depression. And then the minute you say, well, you can always get it checked. No, I don't. It's like, okay, I'm not trying to tell you do or not. It's not, it's a badge I have to wear, but it's not exactly one that's easy. I would definitely, my dad asked me once, he's all, well, what's it like? And I said, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like literally, I would not wish this on anybody. I wouldn't, because it can be exhausting sometimes. And that's one of the reasons why I took these 2 weeks off. I wasn't even sure I was going to come back this week. I mean, I barely got any sleep last night because I think I was nervous about coming back because, like I said, I'm freewheeling it today. There's no notes. There's no nothing. There's just this card, me and this card. And I'm kind of rambling, but I also noticed that my speech has gotten a little slower because when I have anxiety, I mean, it's like, ooh, Shelly's gone to the races with how she talks. It's like the faster the better. And almost like you're trying to be done with it. But, it kind of just falls under the category, it is what it is. And I know a lot of people don't like that term, but it really is. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I can do my best to maintain it, hope that I get it taken care of enough that it's in its own version of remission, but it's my cross to bear, right? But it doesn't have to be a cross to bear. I have decided that, I'm going to advocate. I'll advocate for other people and, try to get them help so that we can balance this world out a little bit because it's going nuts, period. So today's soul action. Look at the person you are judging as if you were looking at a small child. See them learning and growing, falling down and making mistakes. See their desire to be loved and accepted. Add even more grace to your open heart. Add even more grace to open your heart to this truth. When I lift the judgment from myself and others, I uncover my own truth. I am loved, I am whole, I am limitless, and so are they. Now, what's interesting is this card asks you, who do you need to remove judgment from release your judgment from at this time? But when you get down to the bottom of this card, it's really kind of saying, hey, you're judging yourself and you're projecting it onto other people. I mean, if you really stop, when I lift the judgment from myself and others, I uncover my own truth. I am loved, I am whole, I am limitless, and so are they. So like I said, my therapist has been wanting me to work on my worthiness. I really struggle. Believe it or not, you can have self-love and still struggle with self-worth. Because my self-love has really grown. My body mindfulness has really grown. That series that we did these last 30 days and with the bonus tracks coming up the next couple of days, I really grew. I really got to know myself a little better. But I didn't realize that I wasn't working on the worth. And I just thought it automatically came with the self-love, but it doesn't. Self-love is something we give to ourselves. Self-worth is something we give to ourselves. But feeling worthy of other things is saying to the world, I don't deserve it. And that's what I need to work on. And, maybe we'll do a short series on self-worth, how to improve our self-worth, since it is different from the body mindfulness, and it is different from the self-love. They're like a team, right? They're not the same team member, but they're part of that team. Part of that team working together to make you feel whole, to make you feel like you belong here, that you deserve to be on this planet, that you are worthy, again, like I said, of wonderful things, of being loved back, of, being cared about. Sometimes I think we feel like we're the only ones who are supposed to be, giving, but it's okay to receive. It's okay to say, hey, I'm worth it. Someone wants to do something nice for me. Okay, thank you. Sometimes there's people in my life that say, no, you shouldn't have done that. It's like, you know what? Just say thank you. Okay, just say thank you. And then I catch myself doing that too. Like, no, why'd you do this? Oh, okay, sorry, thank you. Like my words get turned back on me. And I don't mind that, because I need to be reminded of that. I need to be reminded that, it's okay to feel worthy. And I can feel it, right? Every time I say that, I can feel this like just small anxiety build up, like, ah. And so I think that's something that we all need to work on. So instead of looking around at people that you might feel like you're judging, look in the mirror. Again, because I would say that the majority of the time when you are judging someone else, it is coming straight from an insecurity that you are dealing with yourself. You're just projecting it. Like I said, you're just projecting it off into a whole different person and finding fault with someone that you may not, like I said, you may not even know. They walk in the door and all of a sudden, instead of saying, why am I feeling this way? So, and I need to work on that too, because I could be a gold medal winner in shaming myself. I could. And I realized that, like I said, when you get to a certain age and you haven't accomplished a lot of the things that other people around you have accomplished, that outwardly things, that people notice, you tend to shame yourself. But I'm trying to look back and realize all the things I've survived, and all the times that I wasn't sure that there would be a tomorrow. And there were 3 or 4 actually big moments in my life where I was on that precipice. I really was. And I'm going to always be very honest about that, because I'm here to tell you that when we stick with it, it can get better. But we have to stop listening to the outside chatter. Do what's best for you. Do what is in your heart. Don't do things other people want you to do because, obviously, yeah, you're an adult. You have adult responsibilities. And we need to take care of those adult responsibilities. But that doesn't mean you can't work towards a goal of something that makes you happy, that brings you joy. Okay, so I'm going to finish it off with this. I can't remember which, it might have been before Moana, but Disney always likes to put out their little, shorts, right? Before their movies. And they had one where this man, he wakes up, it's the heart and the mind, right? You can see the heart and his heart and his mind working together. And the heart is all kind of sad, and the mind is like, gotta do this, gotta get up, take a shower, eat your breakfast, go to work, sit there and crunch papers, blah, 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 blah. And they show him in just kind of like a factory type of people, right? Just everybody sitting at a desk, pushing papers. And then, he passes the beach. He lives near the beach. He passes the beach. He passes the sunglass stand. He passes all these things. And he's like blinded to it. And then all of a sudden, one day, the heart wins out. And he goes to work. And, he does his same routine over and over and over again. But on the way out this time, he stops near the beach. And I can't remember exactly how it goes, because it's been a while since I've seen it, and I haven't seen it on the Disney shorts, so I don't know if it was too traumatic for people or what. But I know it made my nephew cry when he first saw it, and he kind of became a little afraid of dying because of it, because it did put a lot of pressure, I think. But it sticks in my head because it reminds me that when we allow our heart and our mind to work together, big things can happen. It's a team. When your mind is just spiraling out of control, our heart, if it's in a good place, can tell it, hey, I've got you, until you level out, till you just kind of relax. And when our heart is feeling sad, our mind can say, hey, you know what? It's going to be okay. But they have to work as a team. If they don't work as a team, then we feel chaotic. We feel like we're floating out into space with no way of getting back to the space station, which is a bad thing, right? Because, you know, you're just going to die out in that suit. Be a little skeleton in a spacesuit. And that's not fun. That's not cool. I mean, that's kind of freaky if you think about it. But, I know. So dark. But yeah. These are the things that we need to do for ourselves. These are the things that we need to really look into when we feel like we're going to judge somebody. Why do we feel like we need to judge that person? What is in our heart and in our mind and maybe even in our soul that is causing us to feel like we have to pass judgment on someone else? You know, and like I said, if you're out on the road, I'm sorry, but I'm going to judge away because some people are just dumb drivers. But like I said, when it comes to religion, politics, or the open road, those are different subjects. Okay, what we're talking about is, like I said, when you're just sitting there, you're having a bad day, and all of a sudden, nobody can do anything right? And instead of looking inwards, we're just projecting outwards because we don't want to look inwards. Like I said, looking inwards, it can be scary. Shadow work is a huge thing. Carl Jung, wow, this man blows my mind every time I read something about him. But he's my favorite psychologist in history. You know, I mean, a lot of people like to be, you know, centered around Freud, but Carl Jung really kind of speaks to me in his findings and his teachings and his career path through psychology. So and they were colleagues at one point. So in fact, I think it was kind of like they projected as being like a colleague type of situation, but I always kind of looked at it, sorry, I don't know what that was, but I always kind of looked at it as being kind of like a mentorship, you know, because Freud was the father of psychology. So there's your short little history lesson there. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. You know, just do your best to really kind of catch yourself today. Pay attention to what you're thinking. Are you judging somebody? If you are, why? Are you judging yourself? Are you just being right out there in the open? Oops, sorry, and judging yourself. Sorry. And if so, why? Why are you passing judgment on yourself? What needs to be healed that you're unable to heal? You know, and get a journal. You know, this is actually my latest journal, and I got it for my birthday this year. Go get them. So, and that's exactly what I needed to do. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching and for coming back. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that watches, whether it's live or later. Still going to do the TikTok ones. So I might actually go through these cards at some point and just, you know, make our way through the cards for a little bit and as part of the Aloha Perspective, because these Soul Truth cards, they it's the Soul Truth Self-Awareness card deck. And I think the self-awareness can really kind of help push us to where we need to be in, you know, our own mental health, whether you have a dinged up mental health or not. It's always good to kind of go through and become, you know, dive into the soul of ourselves. Okay. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch. It's on Facebook Live under Shelly Marie Lucas, or you can watch the replay on YouTube under the Aloha Perspective. You can catch the short version, what I call the drive-through version of the Aloha Perspective on TikTok. Really can't talk today. So, yeah. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.